Current statistics indicate that nearly half the world's population lives in poverty, defined as less than $2 a day, and that 1 in 6 people live in extreme poverty, less than $1.25. But poverty is not actually just about a lack of money. It's about a lack of opportunities, a lack of choices, a lack of access to all sorts of things that many of us consider essential to life. Poverty is about a lack of hope.
Poverty is the stress of trying to determine how you're going to feed your family and your kids that week.
There comes a time when we heed a certain call, when the world must come together as one. There are people dying.
Oh, when it's time to lend a hand to life, the greatest gift of all.
World Bank, Sub-Saharan Africa is the highest concentration of people living in extreme poverty, on less than $1.25 a day. The most recent estimates say that 1.2 billion people are living in extreme poverty.
Areas of concern are aplenty, with 58 million children out of school, preventable diseases that continue to kill children, 300,000 women die annually from causes related to childbirth, while 1 billion people still practice open defecation. Sub-Saharan Africa is the only region where poverty levels have gone up.
Pretending day by day
that someone somehow
The effect of poverty on the brain is devastating and has often irreversible effects on developing brains, the brains of children, youth, and young adults, as the brain isn't fully developed until about the age of 25. For some researchers, poverty's effect on the brain while in the womb is considered to be a neurotoxin, a substance that damages tissues within the nervous system, including the brain. Evidence shows that children living in poverty are likely to have brain differences due to 4 factors, which include exposure to toxins, chronic stress, lack of cognitive enrichment opportunities, and deficient emotional social relationships. While some damaging substances' effects on the nervous system remain unknown, substances like pollution or other toxic substances are often found in impoverished areas. For instance, children in impoverished areas are still exposed to poisons like lead, which never leaves the body and builds up over time. Lead has been shown to damage the central nervous system in developing brains, resulting in behavioral issues like aggression. One known substance that damages the nervous system that is well documented is cortisol. Often, poverty produces high-stress situations. These situations cause the body to release the stress hormone cortisol. cortisol. In small doses, cortisol can help manage temporarily stressful situations, like taking your college entrance exams. It's a very finite period of time, and the release of cortisol may give you that edge to help you get through that stressful moment. But what happens when you not only have to take a test, but also then have to return to very stressful living conditions? High stress over an extended period of time can result in long-term health issues. As an example, while some recreational drugs are not capable of affecting developing fetuses, that certainly is not the case for cortisol. Extended exposure to cortisol has been shown to influence the neural circuitry of developing fetuses. In other words, a constantly stressed out mother is really bad for developing babies. Further, those same conditions that led to a stressed mother are likely to influence the developing brain of the growing child, as their own cortisol release may damage their developing brain. In a major study looking at the influence of socioeconomic status on the developing brain, the hippocampus, an area of the brain responsible for memory, was significantly smaller in poorer children. Poorer children also had 6% less brain surface area, i.e. less brain cells, than middle class and upper class children. High stressful conditions during childhood due to living in economically impoverished environments has been linked to heart disease, depression, and addiction in adulthood. Behaviorally, repeated exposure to stress has been shown to lead to aggressive behaviors or passiveness, even helplessness. Thus, it's entirely accurate to say that neurons are brain cells that communicate with each other to promote a change or response from the body, develop to reflect their environments, not to pull themselves up by their non-existent bootstraps in order to somehow rise above it. Due to the fact that poverty in society is often treated so poorly, things that could reduce the effects of poverty on the brain, like educational enrichment opportunities, are rarely available in impoverished areas. Children in poverty often have cognitive deficits that are never addressed because they don't have the resources available to them to overcome those deficits. Also, children in poverty often have impaired social relationships. These cognitive and social deficits often sets them up for failure in adulthood, as they aren't as able to effectively and successfully navigate society as Regarding the causes of poverty, many are prone to point to affected individuals themselves, claiming that poverty is the result of lacking the appropriate motivations to succeed and/or failing to have strong work ethic. However, these claims have been debunked for decades by researchers. They claim that poverty more likely stems from systemic societal issues, including racism, classism, failed social policies, unsafe living conditions, poor education, inadequate laws, and various other societal factors. For some research,
isolated. Because of this, here weren't so many stable borders. Some of them lived in African kingdoms which were more prosperous, some of them in tribal villages, where it wasn't a place to assure an organization over time in which people can grow and prosper. In time, the rest of the world evolved, and when colonialism started, we know what happened. Europeans found these territories, and the massive exploitation that followed wasn't good for the continent either. Of course, due to this contact with these Europeans, it was an advance in technology, but in time until today, it wasn't managed to escape from poverty. Even if some small progress was made in some parts, the majority of today's borders are created by Europeans some time ago. And there are thousands of cultures. Many states here are not economically viable by many points of view. A number of them are landlocked and depended on the goodwill of their neighbors for their exports. There was no industry back then. There were almost no scientists, teachers, or very educated people to provide knowledge in order for the communities to grow. In our times, where there is a lack of education and principles, there is poverty. And where is poverty, there is a high chance to not exist so many investments in future education. It is like a loop which continues in various forms, and a slow progress was made overall in the continent. But it's not enough. Of course, there are countries and countries. Some of them managed to grow more than others, while in some different countries, local wars existed and even terrorism. But Africa as a continent stays on a rich place. A rich place in diamonds, gold, iron, uranium, silver, copper, or oil. It's
There's a choice we're making. We're saving our own lives. It's true, we'll make a better day. Just you and me.
not be in vain.
We can't let them suffer